It all began over 5,000 years ago along the banks of the Nile River. Ancient Egyptians depended on the Nile's fertile floodplains, giving rise to small agricultural communities. These communities would lay the foundation for one of the first complex societies in human history. The Nile River was more than a geographic feature. It was the heartbeat of ancient Egypt, dictating the rhythms of life and survival. Stretching over 4,000 miles, the Nile's annual floods deposited rich black silt along its banks, creating fertile farmland in an otherwise arid landscape. Early inhabitants of the Nile Valley learned to harness this natural phenomenon, transforming their environment into a cradle of agriculture. They cultivated crops such as wheat and barley, domesticated animals, and developed irrigation techniques that allowed them to thrive even during periods of drought. These innovations were pivotal, fostering a sedentary lifestyle and the growth of small, interconnected villages. These villages later evolved into more organized communities with shared beliefs, rituals, and leadership, paving the way for a more complex society. Archaeological evidence from this period reveals the ingenuity of these early Egyptians. They crafted tools from stone, bone, and wood to aid in farming, hunting, and construction. Cave drawings and early carvings, found along the Nile's cliffs and in desert oases, depict their daily lives, including scenes of fishing, farming, and spiritual ceremonies. These artifacts hint at the beginnings of a shared cultural identity, rooted in a profound connection to their environment. In 3100 BCE, King Narmer achieved the first unification of Upper and Lower Egypt, marking the birth of the First Dynasty. This milestone not only consolidated power but also began Egypt's journey into one of history's greatest empires. Around 3100 BCE, a seismic shift occurred in the Nile Valley. Two distinct regions, Upper Egypt, the southern region, and Lower Egypt, the northern delta, had developed unique political and cultural identities. Upper Egypt, represented by the White Crown, was a land of narrow valleys and cliffs. Lower Egypt, symbolized by the Red Crown, boasted fertile plains and access to the Mediterranean Sea. King Narmer, also known as Menes in some accounts, emerged as a unifying figure. Historical records, such as the Narmer palette, depict him wearing the crowns of both regions, symbolizing the unification of the two lands under a single ruler. This unification was not merely symbolic, it established the First Dynasty and laid the groundwork for centralized governance, military organization, and the administrative systems that would define ancient Egypt. With unification came the establishment of Memphis, a strategically located capital at the junction of Upper and Lower Egypt. Memphis served as a political and cultural hub, linking the two regions and fostering trade, communication, and collaboration. This new kingdom introduced standardized systems of taxation, justice, and construction, all overseen by a powerful and divine king. Narmer's reign marked the beginning of monumental architecture and state-sponsored art. Temples were constructed to honor the gods, and tombs began to reflect the growing complexity of Egyptian spiritual beliefs. The belief that the pharaoh was both a political leader and a divine figure became a cornerstone of Egyptian civilization, reinforcing the unity and stability of the state. The unification of Upper and Lower Egypt was not just a political achievement, it was a cultural revolution. It sparked an era of innovation with advancements in writing. The earliest hieroglyphs date back to this period, mathematics and technology. The foundations of ancient Egyptian society were firmly established, enabling the construction of the pyramids and the development of a civilization that would endure for thousands of years. The unification of Egypt was a monumental step in human history. It demonstrated how shared goals, cultural integration, and leadership could transform scattered communities into a thriving centralized state.